Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Crypto Lab with Alex, daily updates featured by Trading Analysis. As usual, we are going to look just a couple of small things in the macro sector or the macro themes, and then we will switch what is going on a Bitcoin and Ether. Latest events, of course, put a lot of pressure on the industry. There has been reports of the couple of other exchanges to be in probable troubles as a ripple effect of what has been going on the FTX. All of this probably is still not purged from the system, and we will still see in probably a couple of weeks what are the final damages of these things that occurred. So with all that said, let's start. Let's look what is happening on yields. Our overall thesis was that actually the CPI, if you remember, it's going to go lower. On the latest readings and the readings before, so we came out at 7.7, which was 0.2 lower than 7.9 predicted, and of course the 10-year, 5-year yields and across the spectrum went lower. So this corresponds to small possible correction on yields before we have a final push on the upside. So let me just show you that first on the chart. So if we inspect this wave pattern, so most likely we have hit the wave 3. Is this some part of a flat, or we are going to go into some type of an ABC? It really doesn't matter. It is going to most likely be an orange wave 4. This was, in my opinion, a complex wave. So we can expect a little bit less in time spent in this wave according to the guideline of alternation. So we might even have a little bit more sharper move down in yields in the next couple of weeks. And then until February, March, we might see a recovery and actually complete this yield cycle in some type of a wave 1 or a wave A here on this daily chart, and then I'm looking for a bigger pause in yields in 2024, 23, 24 and 25. So of course this is far away in time. Let's focus on this one and how this develops. If we anglar this picture, this is just a 3 waves down. We still don't have a final confirmation and development of the impulsive move lower in A, or either in this type of a continuation in flat down to 2.6 to 3%. So let's observe this probably until the next week. We're going to have a clearer picture, but for now we have a kind of a half signs that something on the downside is starting to develop on yields. If we look 5-year yields, so pretty much the same picture from these lows, 2020 COVID start. This was around I think May, June, July. We started the move on the upside in a 1-2, pretty nice wave 3 on the upside, so I expect some type of wave 4 and a wave 5. So pretty much the same picture if you look through the lens of the Elliott Wave. We do couple our analysis with a few other things as a confirmation, but in these murky waters of inflation, supply side problems during COVID, Russia-Ukraine conflict, and all sorts of other things in the system, I think that technical representation also gives a pretty bright picture where the yields might go in the next couple of months. So for now, this is unfolding pretty nicely. We just need a little bit more downside to confirm this wave 4 on the downside, and of course we are seeing S&P and other indices in Europe and US and also around the world rallying on the upside, while the yields are moving lower, and potentially this will continue up to the new year. where we might find this fourth wave bottom and then continue on the upside. Of course, this is reflects from several angles to the US dollar. So this is clearly a 5-wave move development. Even if you take this as a complex correction, I still cannot say that wave 5 is anchored here. We didn't trade below this significant levels here, which will invalidate the expanding ending diagonal. So we need to stay a little bit more with it before we invalidate, and if we invalidate. Otherwise, if we start pushing on the upside, this will be the final terminal fifth wave, which will give rise to US dollar one more time before we see a larger correction or a new downtrend to the downside. So we are still observing this sequence here and some of the Elliott Wave rules with a certain patterns, in this case ending diagonals, which can be of a contracting and expanding type. There is a certain rules inside, so if we consider this to be wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, one of the rules is that wave 4 cannot enter below the wave 2, then diagonal is invalidated, and also the relation between the every leg in this expanding and contracting diagonal has a certain ratios and relation between them. So in the expanding type, wave 3 should be larger than wave 1, which obviously it is, and then a wave 5 has to be equal or even a pips larger, if not more, from the wave 3. So if we get another rise on the upside, it will be in 3 waves. So it will be a wave A, down in B, and up in C. And this dollar cycle on the upside, starting from 2008, will come to an end, and we will expect a larger correction or even a new downtrend to develop. So let's see how this will go. If we look at total crypto market cap, we have reason to believe that this was some type either of a completing pattern, so we are done, which is a pretty strange thing to say, and I explained to our members, and I will explain that further on a Bitcoin, so just give me a little bit more time to explain you the sentiment of the market. Or we are in some type of an ending diagonal, but I think we are here facing a last hooray on the movement lower. So either we're going to have a 3-wave correction or a full impulsive move according to this picture, which will actually place this as a 1-2, up in 3, flat in 4, and up in 5. So this still needs to be resolved. Of course, the magnitude of the wave, reactionary wave from here, will actually tell us if this is just an ending part and we're going to go lower, and this is the beginning of a new cycle down, or we are going to continue post a new high and then reverse lower. It is really hard to believe for this upside in the current situation, but that is what I've discussed with our members pretty thoroughly. So let me show you the Bitcoin chart, and as you know, the main theme of the Bitcoin chart is this wave count invalidation. So according to the Elliott Wave methodology, we do have a couple of rules which we need to respect, and one of these rules is that wave 4, if you look at it on any pattern or any assets class, cannot actually go in the territory of the wave 2, or it cannot pass the high of the wave 1. It's the same thing, maybe more proper will be to say cannot enter the territory of this wave 2 development, which will be at 13,826 according to the crypto compare data. This data varies according to the charts or exchanges, but it's around there everywhere. So what do we want? What do we don't want to see if we want to keep the bullish bias on the Bitcoin? We don't want to see a price action actually passes these levels, because in that case, even if this is going to be a terminal wave 5 and we're going to see some type of a correction, we will have a major bullish invalidation, and then in that case it will be very difficult for me to stay bullish. We need to look then for a corrective pullback and then a further move lower. So it's very crucial on a Bitcoin what will happen here. Either as I said in the comments of the total crypto market cap, either we are in some type of an ending diagonal trading above this 13,826, or this was some type of running flat and either a little bit lower, or here we are done. So that's very hard to believe because the sentiment is so low, but you have to remember that the things get their terminal point of a current trend where you actually achieve a very low sentiment signature. So I've discussed this, as I said, thoroughly with our members. So what we have here, definitely the lowest mood in a sentiment sense in the crypto space. The FTX ripple effect is actually infecting the whole industry, and from that perspective you cannot have worse, I guess, worse sentiment than it is now. So potentially and looking all of this wave structure, we can actually make a thesis that this was a longer term bottom, or we have a little bit more downside without this wave counting validation. So we don't have a chart or we don't have a pattern recognition confirmation. So we have this, but we need this to upside movement in 5 waves to confirm actually that this was a low or some type of a temporary low on a Bitcoin. So I will say that one of the conditions is also this divergence on this weekly level, which was pointed out to me by one of our members on the Tuesday members webinar we have for our clients. So this is a very visible divergence. These divergences can change, and I pointed out on that. So this can fall further lower. So the only when you can actually confirm the divergence, it's a little bit in a mirror when you see the upside unfolding and then the divergence actually played its role. And divergence actually means that RSI posted a higher low and price has posted a lower low than here. So it's clearly a divergence between the RSI and price. So some of these two potential is lying. In this case, it will be a Bitcoin price action, and actually underlying strength is showing on the RSI. So that's also one of the things that we are looking, but it's a secondary kind of indicator, or I will not say indicator, but kind of a secondary point of a secondary grade. Primary, of course, are the wave count and a couple of other things, and then the secondary one, you can look a couple of guidelines, time ratio, RSI, and a couple of other things from technical perspective. And also, of course, primary one will be the basic rules of the Elliott Wave methodology. So I will say that we have for now 2 conditions met. So the sentiment is most likely at the lowest point, and we have a potential divergence. So all what we need is some type of a pattern confirmation that we actually develop a confirming price action that this was actually a potential low. So in that case, we will of course observe that, and our clients will be first to know, of course, but we will also present that when the time comes at the daily updates or the crypto lab on the crypto lab with Alex. So let me show you the Ethereum chart, which is also relatively showing more strength than a Bitcoin chart. We also have some type of a small, we don't have here a divergence, as you can see. We are still trading above this high here, low on the Ether. But we are still in a danger zone of moving further lower. So I have a kind of a ABC pushback to the downside and then consolidation. So we need a little bit more to confirm this wave 4. We are still in some type of a corrective, I will say, developments here. We have a small trade with our members on this Ether. This is the smaller time frame. So this can be some type of a WX and then move down in A. We expect move up in B and move down in C. Practically some type of a double bottom, and this will be a large correction in a wave 2, and then some positive developments on the upside. So even go on a smaller time frame, this looks something either like a triangle, and then it's a very kind of a small exposure. We just put a small trade up to this equality levels, but for now we don't have a development on the upside to confirm them. This starts to go pretty much on a sideways, which I don't like, which kind of even can imply also some type of a triangulation, which will be in an A, down in B, up in C, D, and we will see a move up in E wave, and then a further move to the downside, which will make this a little bit more complex correction down to the C wave. So what do we don't want to see on Ether to keep this bullish wave count? And as you can see, this daily 200 moving average has kept well before attempts to go further on the upside, as well as this one. We don't want to see this price action go below the latest lows, which is at 881. In that case, we'll have to switch to a more bearish stance in a 5 wave. So then this will not be an ABC, it will be some type of a flat. We will have to redo some of the wave counts in a sense of getting the right pattern here, and this will be actually not letters, it will be numbers. So it will be a move down in A, 3 waves up in B, and then an expanding flat with some type either of an ending diagonal or some other pattern down to wave 4 around 700. I still don't think we are in that situation, so I'm trying to pinpoint some of the levels where we can see reversal. It is still like a hypothesis. We don't have a pattern recognition confirmation. As I said, we have a sentiment confirmation, and on Bitcoin some RSI divergence, which is a kind of a semi-confirmation. We need to see a pattern confirmation and move above this 200 moving average and impulsive move on the upside to confirm actually that this might be a longer term low, which was followed by such a very low sentiment in the crypto space. So the study of the sentiment, in my opinion, is very important, and that study also helped me with a couple of Fib ratios and Elliott Wave methodology actually to pinpoint a couple of these lows and highs on a higher time frame in the last couple of years. So we have been pretty much on all of these lows and highs pretty much correct, observing them. Here for the wave 4 we had first as a triangle because it was a pretty much sideways movement, and then we switched to this. Our target from here was around 20k. We went a little bit lower, but the general direction of the Bitcoin was pretty visible if you look from the sentiment side, and I do value much information about the sentiment. As you remember here, the sentiment was pretty much bullish. Everybody, 99.9% of the market was calling 200k, 500k, million, 5 million, God knows what. And then also here in 2021 November, we called a potential reversal if we don't trade above 70k, which has happened. And the market was looking for 100k. So in all of these events, many people was caught on the wrong side. And as this develops to the downside, according to the on-chain data, there is only longer term holders left holding the Bitcoin in some larger amounts. The other ones, unfortunately, has been wiped out from the market. So one of the things usually I have posed before, I'm gonna pose again. From where the money will come from into cryptos. So we can see this fifth wave on the upside when we actually take in consideration that the sentiment is so bad. Okay, so you have to understand that sentiment is developing on either side slowly. Okay, so if we say, for example, that this is the lowest sentiment for the cryptos, and we might see some bullish, let's say, a smaller reversal, this sentiment will take time to recover. So first, what you want to look for a sentiment things is neutrality. So in one point, market will say, okay, the FTX damage is wiped out from the system, we can begin new, all of that already known stuff. And then in some point, we might see some new regulation, which will make this institution go back and actually develop again a positive, slightly positive sentiment, and as the price action develop higher, the retail will finally jump in and say, okay, now this is the bullish sign. But unfortunately, that might be a little bit late for the retail to enter because we will be in the finishing sequence of this wave 5. So I'm observing pretty much everything what is going on a smaller and larger time frames for our members. And I'm very carefully watching what we are going to see here. So that has been our main presentation, looking a little bit of macro and Ethereum and Bitcoin charts. So let me see, guys, what is your opinion? What is your requests? And not much of a viewers today. I guess people are busy and working. So Felix, silver, yeah, I don't know, depends on a dollar. For me, gold and silver are purely a dollar play. So let me just look the silver. I don't see clearly a 5 wave up, 5 waves up in silver. So I cannot confirm that actually we are at reversal. So silver is 2.75% down today. So if you look, I can still not anchor this wave B here when you have also a probability that this might be some type of a further reversal lower. So if we look this in the lens of the expanding leading diagonal, so there is an ending variety and there is a leading variety of this diagonal on silver. We can also, what we have said previously, and these diagonals usually looks very strange if this is the case and if this is the one. So we have a couple of things which was respected here. So the wave 3 is larger than wave 1, and then wave 5 is larger than wave 3. So this qualifies for something like that. It has a little bit of a very ugly pattern development, not symmetrical, but that can happen when couple of things I have saw in my career is actually that these diagonal events on the beginning of a new uptrend are pretty ugly in a sense of any symmetry. Okay, so if we measure here an ending diagonal or leading diagonal, sorry, so obviously we use a fib measurements. Wave 3 is actually larger than wave 1, and then if we measure wave 5 with the wave 3, of course, equality is here. So obviously the wave 5 is larger than wave 3. So we have a basic conditions that you cannot pretty much count this precisely. As I said, these are very tricky and ugly developments, especially when the trend changes and volatility expands. As you can see here, I will not make a big fuss about that because I know that can happen. So you will never, in most cases, I will not say never, but in most cases you will not see clearly all of the 5 wave structures here. As you can see, you can even say this is a 5 wave, but it's a 3 wave if this is a leading diagonal. So you cannot ask for a perfection of a symmetry or a viable, very visible patterns in this type of events, but I will say that this is also a probability. In that case, if this is a viable according to the rules, usually leading diagonals retrace 38 or 50% or 61. It's important we don't actually go below 786, because in that case, and it's very rare that leading diagonals actually touch 786. If it is a leading diagonal, it actually conveys a very special message that actually there is underlying strength in a certain asset class. So there is also a couple of other solutions. We can also say this is still part of some type of the expanding diagonal to the downside. Okay, so we can even make the case that this is a part of the A up in B, down in C, and this is some type of or 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a little bit more downside. So I will wait a little bit on this for a confirmation. If silver is going to turn higher, it's going to have lots of room to continue in the next year or two higher. So I will wait a little bit with the conclusion on that, Felix. So Polkadot. Okay, so let's look Polkadot. Polkadot is a pretty straightforward, in my opinion, for now, chart. So Polkadot has some type also of a potential ending diagonal developments. My support is clearly stated here with the blue line. I think this is some type of a flat correction, moving in 5 waves up, in a wave A or 1, 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and 5 waves down. So this is a very not very rare pattern, and actually this type of expanding flats can test 88 fib ratio, which means that we can see a price move down even 88% compared to this first move on the upside. So what actually does that mean in this specific case? It means that we can see even lower prices on Polkadot. I'm just explaining you what can happen. I'm not saying it will, but 88% here comes around 2.87 if we have a more downside. Usually what we look for a fib ratio as a kind of a final destination, and in the other corrective patterns is 786. Which is relatively like 15% or 20% in the last 50 years. We have some statistics on these patterns, corrective patterns. So 786 is one of the rare achieved ratios on the downside. But again, if this is the case, I will also look for some type of an ending diagonal down to this 4.5 on Polkadot. So Polkadot fell from pretty sizable highs at 55.46. We are down almost to 4. So it is an immense move lower, as you can see. And yeah, I'm going to look what is going to happen here. Any 5-wave moves surpassing the previous week high will add to the possible some type, either a corrective pullback back in 2022 area or a further larger expansion on the upside. So I never do that in advance, because that is just a thesis. So I want to see a confirmation and a good trading setup where you can measure your risk. Hey William, Schnitzel, Zeus, yeah, Zeus, we already looked Polkadot. Do you expect BTC rally in 2023? I think I have said pretty much on the Bitcoin. I'm not expecting anything. I'm trying to comprise a couple of views from macro perspective, liquidity perspective, technical perspective, and kind of combine them in one and give a proper thesis which needs to be confirmed by the price action. So I'm not in the expectation mood. I'm not fed kind of a managing expectations. No. Yeah, XRP, I still think we are in triangle. Let me look. Dogecoin, yeah, I've already posted the video on Doge. So this has collapsed lower. I was very specific that we need to see 5 waves on the upside. It still can pull out a diagonal move on the upside, but I don't know. I don't think so. Even if we place and consider this some type of a truncation, we still don't have a foundation to measure this as a completion of the wave 2 on a smaller time frame. So for me, Doge is something that needed to have clearly a 5-wave move on the upside. It failed. That was a sign that potentially this is still not the end of the movement on the downside. I'm not saying it is going to go to the downside because a couple of other possibilities are left, but I'm not in a business of picking lows and highs. I'm waiting confirmations in a sense of a price action. If this starts to portray itself at some type of an expanding leading diagonal, we see a move on the upside, and then on a pullback, I can measure my risk reward very nicely in anticipation to capture either larger ABC or a higher level. So I see many people are focused on catching lows and highs. And in my opinion, only a couple of guys can do that in the world successfully over the time. So I have burned myself many times trying to do that, which is a challenging to the human psychology. But when I figured out that this is in this type of when you look a higher time frame and you want to have some position trading lasting longer, there is no need for that. I mean, why should I pick lows which are unstable or highs? Even if you use such a sophisticated tool with the fib measurements, you can be very, very quickly to be in the position on a smaller time frames if you want. So that's why I'm not focused of claiming and rushing in any of these cryptos. Okay, so Eva wants to see band. Let's see band. Of course, if you want to visit us, you can check trading analysis either on a stock service or on a crypto service. We have a lot of macro as well. So we combine different disciplines, and in the last year or two we use Optima, which is a sector rotation software, which is a great tool. So if you want to visit us, you can just pick up a trial and look our stock and crypto service. So let me look. What did you say? A band? I don't know if I did anytime or anywhere analysis on band. No, we didn't. Okay, so this looks pretty constructive for now, so we can consider this to be some type of a corrective movement on the downside, and we can do a couple of things here. We can post some of the let me just uncolor this. So yeah, if we are in some type of a corrective pullback, so we can look for ABC movement to the downside. So We have a 5-wave move down, and then we have some type of a hesitation here, probably in some type of an X-wave move, and then we have a further continuation. So if we do some fib measurements here, we can look if these two legs has some type of an equality, and still we are not there at the equality. We should, it is not necessary that you reach equality, but in most cases you do reach equality between the corrective pullbacks. So I guess we cannot still consider this to be over yet. Okay, so I will be looking for a break in any case of this, either from here or from here of this trend line, channel trend line, which is a good sign that we are seeing underlying strength. And then on a pullback, probably I will have some small exposure myself or our members, potentially continuing on the upside. So this is still not, in my kind of observation, still a tradable chart, in a sense that you can say that you see something here which actually say that we are at lows. Okay. So if we consider this to be some type of an ABC movement, we will label this as an A, we will label this as a B, and then 1, 2, down in 3, 4, and 5, we will label this as a C. So if you go in a more kind of a detailed analysis, this might be some type of a 1, 2 in a flat, and then you have a straight 5-wave move lower, 3 waves up in a wave 4, and now we are seeing a final push down in a 5th wave, reaching this equality, which will be my preferred point of any involvement or any observation for the reversal signature. Okay, so for now I don't think we have this reversal signature. Okay guys, so thank you very much on the time that you actually spent with us looking these crypto labs. I do appreciate it. We are going to continue to look for signs of the reversal, because this sentiment reached, I think, lowest point. So we do need a pattern confirmation still. Alex, hey Alex is actually our members. A bearish count on Ether. You can ask me that on Discord, Alex, as well. You know, I will reply. So bearish wave count on Ether is going to be a 5-wave move lower. So this will be a type of a flat, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. So if this is a bearish outlook, then we will see some type of potential either ending diagonal or something more in the line of the descending pattern towards levels which is below this previous lows. Okay, I'm still not looking for that. This pattern here can only turn into some type of a triangulation before we go lower. Okay, so this can be A, down in B, up in C, D, and E, and then we post another low. But for now, pattern is still not developed if we are in a triangle, and my main wave count is still bullish. So we didn't invalidate any bullishness yet. I will go to this wave count only if we do see some sharp move lower, and that might be in a form of some type of either expanding ending diagonal or other forms that we can see this wave 5 develops. So for now, this is not my preferred option. How do I look Ether to further develop? Okay, so this understands move lower around 700, 600, and then further reversal on the upside. So depends what will happen with cryptos, with Bitcoin, with the FTX, all of the other stuff. Yeah, I don't like GRT chart because it doesn't have a pretty nice. Usually, I'm not forcing any developments on charts. This chart actually shows clearly a 5-wave pattern lower. I didn't like these 3 waves on the upside. You cannot squeeze any 5 waves here, so I was avoiding doing this chart. So now the situation is a little bit more clearer because this is clearly an impulsive move lower. So we are very soon can come to the wave 3, wave 4 and wave 5. So for now, this is clearly an impulsive bearish development. So there is a 5 waves down in a wave 1, some type of A or ABC, XABC, or A flat in B up in C, whatever. It really doesn't makes any significant difference here because this is something which you can look as a, let me just, why I'm on white here. Yeah, so it's kept itself in a corrective channel. So as you can see, there is no overlap. So there is clearly a 5-wave move here also in a third sequence, a very visible one. So this is a very now clear pattern. You have a wave 1, wave 2, very sharp wave 3, wave 4, and potentially wave 5 is developing. So also this one implies a larger correction might come soon. Okay. So it is for now still a bearish case with one more blip in a 4th wave, probably in 2023-24, when the other cryptos will move up. GRT will post some type of a wave 4 on the upside. At least it looks like this now. And then you can throw some fibs, we can do some extensions, also some projections to pinpoint where the wave 3 is, but of course that will be a privilege of our members. We don't want to give all our craft here, just the overall outlook. So thank you guys again. So click the like button, subscribe if you like. I don't see many of, I don't know if you subscribed. It will help us, of course, to get us a bigger reach. So as you can see, overall our analysis was pretty sober, I will say, in the last couple of years, and all of these YouTubers, all of these shenanigans in a crypto hype, first on the upper side and also crypto narrative. I've been talking about 2 years that Bitcoin is a lost case psychologically. We lost the first white paper intention as a currency, and then we heard all of the other narratives like digital gold or pristine collateral or inflation hedge or a new monetary system in the world. Unfortunately, we don't see that developing yet. I'm not saying it's not possible, but for now, as you can see, we are not at that point, and either of this narrative actually succeeded to be sustainable. Okay, so that was all just a very unbacked thesis how this market will develop. And also, as you can see, a lot of stuff now on the YouTube, all of these YouTubers that was pumping cryptos on the upside, which get amazing viewers and followings. Our sober analysis didn't reach even 1,000 followers, and couple of YouTube channels has over 1 million one, which actually was either promoting fake cryptos or was actually decimating their viewers with their very low technical analysis and also a very low knowledge of what affects markets and how they behave. So unfortunately it is like that. You will find that this is not just with our channel, this is in every aspect of the human behavior. People in mass flocks where their wishes are fulfilled. And I'm still proud for the trading analysis team that we always try to give our objective as much as we can using all of these tools to keep our members on the right side, and none of them was damaged. We have a couple of clients, unfortunately, we had that had the FTX exposure, but not all of their funds was there. But technically, and also from the many other perspectives, we kept our clients safe with the risk control, and also with the right view and correct view on the market. So if you like to join us, be free to do. We will continue to pound the drums in this direction. And tradinganalysis.com, check us out. You can look for a trial. It's like 27 bucks, and see what we have. So thank you guys once more, and see you next week. Bye bye.